Now my heart is sinking and I'm thinking something is very wrong. She finally, after like 45 minutes of crying, admits she did something really bad. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, gonna go over a story titled, "My wife admitted to an affair to me that happened 3 years ago." And a big shout out to the dude that sent me this story. I forgot to write your name down, but you know who you are. And guys, this story is all about a guy who's been married to his wife for 4 years now. And not 6 months into their marriage, she's already having an affair. And I don't mean like just some dude she hooked up with once. I'm talking about a full-blown affair. And you'll see more about that as I get into it. And eventually she gets caught, no surprise here, and is having a whole freaking meltdown over this whole thing. About him, how sorry she is and all that. And this guy's on the fence on how to handle the situation, because on the one hand he knows she's a terrible person, what she did, and is disgusted with her. On the other hand, she's so good at pulling off the waterworks and roping him in and obviously knowing what buttons to push. He's debating what to do, even though we all know what he should do. And actually, even he knows what he has to do. It's just very hard for him. And I thought it'd be a very good one to cover here, guys, just to show you how, in my opinion, nowadays, things have really gotten out of whack. I mean, obviously, I call it Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0 that we're living in. But there was a time and place where, with couples, particularly married couples, there'd be the guy having friends that were women to hang out with, and certainly or talk to, or there's no texting back in the day of our grandparents or parents, but if there was, there'd be no texting, hanging out, or anything. And the wife wouldn't be hanging out with other guys, talking to other guys, texting other guys, phone calls, whatever. Or in relationships, your girlfriend hangs out with other dudes or the boyfriend hangs out with other girls. That wouldn't happen. And there's a reason for that, the old-fashioned type of mindset, because it just led to trouble. Men and women can't be friends, and there's certain things, a certain code you got to stick with, in my opinion. But nowadays, people have all this leeway, because if you don't do that, you're considered to be old-fashioned or labeled as controlling or insecure. And you're going to see in this story here where he gives her way too much leeway and she takes advantage of it in what she does. But also the fact that she's also, in my opinion, a bit of a narcissist and a sociopath, and she obviously sees weakness in this guy and takes advantage of it. And you're also going to see, once again, what happens when a woman is ready to settle. She finds her a nice guy who she knows she can have her way with, push his buttons, and get what she wants, and he's heartbroken. This is why guys need to be aware of that, not rushing into relationships, spending years getting to know the girl, etc., etc., and you'll see my point as I go on. So, starts off, says here, "My wife and I have been married for 4 years now, and together for 7. All said and done, except for the obvious title, I was happy. Ignorance is bliss, my friend. I thought she was too. We just moved into our new house together and we're planning to have our first child later this year." Good Lord. Well, look at this, like a silver lining what you found out before you had a kid with her. To get down to it, weeks ago was her birthday, and I noticed a guy that she'd been friends with was messaging her on Instagram, and I assumed it was just a sort of happy birthday, etc. She should not be talking to other dudes on Instagram. Too much leeway. I casually asked her, and she seemed to be like startled that I'd be asking, and got defensive. It was weird, but I actually didn't think anything of it. For as long as we've been together and dated, I never had a sense to not trust her. Oh, were you blind, my friend? She's open with phones, and she's never given me any reason not to be. I had an ex before her who cheated on me, so I felt like I never worried with her, and she never gave off the same vibes as my ex. That's because your wife is better at hiding things. She's a master. She is acting strange and distant for the rest of the night, and then it gets to the point of like, okay, there's something going on here. Trust your gut, gentlemen. If your gut tells you something is off, you must listen to it. For me, I'm thinking I definitely did something to piss her off, and I'm like, what do I need to apologize for? Smack. That is some BS simp thinking. Where the girl's acting difficult, pouty, bitchy, whatever, the guy instantly thinks it's his fault, something he must be doing. No. You could be doing everything right. Maybe she's just being an a-hole. How about that? Why do you have to assume it's you? I kept asking her what's wrong, and she finally just starts sobbing uncontrollably. Here we go. Niagara Falls begins, the waterworks. What usually happens after the waterworks? A confession. But the guy's all warmed up from the waterworks and feeling bad for her, and the confession follows, which makes it easy for her to get away with her bullshit. And watch this. Now my heart is sinking, what I tell you, and I'm thinking something is very wrong. She finally, after like 45 minutes of crying, admits she did something really bad. What I tell you, 45 minutes of crying. Now, I'm sure that's an exaggeration, but I'm sure it was a long time. What I tell you. She says she had an affair 3 years ago with a guy that she was messaging, and basically her insides were eating her with guilt. Bullshit. She just knew that this guy was onto her, the husband, and now she's admitting it because she knows that she's caught. Her insides are eating her with guilt. Okay, and the award for best actress goes to. She always felt guilty, but since I questioned her directly and she lied, it became unbearable. But she claimed this had been 3 years of guilt almost every day. Bullshit. So let's do the math here. They've been married for 4 years. She cheated on him 3 years ago. So they were less than 1 year into their marriage, and she's already having a full-blown affair. Now, in a moment, you're going to see the circumstances that was going on with the affair, which leads to me talking about when you give it could be boyfriend or girlfriend. It works the same way with women. Your partner, I hate saying that word, but it's appropriate. Now, your partner, your spouse, whatever, too much leeway and not establishing reasonable boundaries. Long story short, we got married 6 months later. We got married, and 6 months later, she had an opportunity to live and work in Costa Rica for 3 months and learn Spanish. I just started my job, and moving to Costa Rica wasn't something I wanted or could do. It was a goal of hers for years. I had known about it, and I didn't want to stand in her way, so I encouraged her to go, and we would just date long distance for that period. Smack! So here we go with the leeway thing. They're married. Officially married, the two of them together. And now he's going to date her. She's going to go off and live on some island somewhere. No, that doesn't work, okay? That'd be one thing if you were dating and all that, or even an exclusive relationship. But now that you're married, that's a bad way to go. It's like, no. We're married now. We're going to stay together. You can get Rosetta Stone and learn your Espanol there. You're not going to go off and live in Costa Rica for all that time. Not happening. But right here, you can see he gives her too much leeway because, you know what? He loves her and he trusts her, and it's a bad idea. So he encouraged her to go. So she went down, and it was hard to not be with her, but I thought it wasn't that out of the ordinary. We talked often, and I even flew down twice to visit her. Nothing seemed suspicious. Famous last words. She came back. She didn't show any signs of anything at all, and it seemed like she had a great experience. She had a great experience with some Costa Rican sausage. This is what I knew of it until she told me a very different story. I wanted to hear the full details to at least know what she did. It was surreal and devastating to know that she cheated, but I need to know exactly what it was. Yeah, you're cheated on. You want to know all the freaking details. But I guarantee you, there is no way in hell he's going to get the full story. He'll get some of it, the parts that she knows she has to tell him. He ain't getting all the details. I actually kind of regret asking for this after hearing it, but at the time it was killing me not to know the actual truth. When I asked her, I thought it wouldn't be possible to know she just cheated, and it was a mistake. I would always wonder how far she went and if it was like a kiss or worse. Dude, I guarantee you there was way more than kissing going on there. It was worse. She seemed to be honest about it because I don't think if she was sugarcoating it, as she would have said this. She met a guy in her class early on the trip. They started getting lunches and dinners together. They got drunk and it turned sexual. Of course it did. That's the ultimate way out. I was drinking. I was drunk. Wasn't me. I didn't want to cheat on you. It was drunk me that did that. It didn't end there. They kept having SEX the rest of the trip. They even took some trips together to see beaches and other tourist sites. For all intents and purposes, they were dating. So, mind you guys, they only been married 6 months. And already she's jumping into an affair like this. Do you think this is her first rodeo of cheating? No. She's obviously well versed at this. He wanted more, and she told him during it that it was a mistake. She was playing both of us, I guess. And it would end when she got back. To her, it was a fantasy that got out of control. She admitted it made her feel good at the time, and she liked being with him. She liked him. She liked the sex and the adventure. She compartmentalized her being there as a different world, and even though she knew it was terrible, she kept doing it. Of course she did. And she didn't give a shit. You know, she has him at home, and he's probably calling her. They're talking probably every day, every other day. And he's coming down to visit her, and she's putting on the big show. Meanwhile, she's got her boyfriend in the background waiting around. It's terrible. And again, they've been only married 6 months, which tells me, because they got married when she was 25 and he was 26, that she found her nice guy. She's ready to settle, get that ring on her finger, have her marriage, have her ceremony. Not a marriage, have a ceremony. She can have her magical day, and found her nice guy who she knew that she could get her way with and would give her all the leeway and freedom because he just wants to make her happy. Look what happened. She didn't want to be with him, and she just wanted to stay with me, but she never made a serious effort to end the affair while she was there. She cut him off almost completely at the end of the trip. Almost completely, huh? She showed me her phone and messages, and they seem to support that story, and nothing is deleted. I am stunned. It sounds almost psychopathic. How could she live 2 lives like that? Because she is psycho. It's angering, also, as I trusted her on this trip, and I'm sitting at home working as she's on the beach with some guy. She didn't even make it 6 months of our marriage. I'm venting, but it's unbelievable that she did this. We've been nonstop arguing and just rounds of craziness this entire past week. Dude, I'm going to say what we're all thinking here. End it. You only been married her 4 years. 4 years. It's nothing. You're 30 years old. You got your whole life ahead of you. Okay? Why stay with someone like this? And think of it, silver lining here, you didn't have a kid with her. It continues. She wants to do everything she can to fix it and seems genuine, but at the same time, it's hard to even recognize her. Genuine, huh? When she seemed so genuine when you came down to visit her in Costa Rica about how she loved you. Meanwhile, she was effing some other dude. That type of genuine? I haven't been able to work in a week as every 15 minutes images them together flash through my head and I feel sick. Right. And that ain't gonna stop. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And it's one thing. It says she hooked up with some dude when she was drunk or some bullshit like that and then admitted the truth. But this is a full-blown, several-month-long affair with the other guy while you're coming down to visit her and she's lying to you while you're... No. Get rid of her. I feel like I'm starting to have Stockholm Syndrome, though, because she is still with me and we live together. When she explains it and cries and apologizes, I want to believe her and I actually see her side. Smack! What kind of side do you see to her story here? Then when I'm away from her, I get angry again. It's like a vicious cycle. I feel like I'm walking around in a daze. She has gotten us marriage counseling and wants to start going to the meetings. Oh, I'm sure she does. She found a marriage counselor who probably is a woman, or at least someone she can count on that's going to try to manipulate the guy to stay with her and give her a second chance and all that. Meanwhile, instead of just saying, hey, this ain't going to work, that your wife is a wacko, she's a psycho. I do think she really does regret it, but at the same time, I feel like I've actually been played for a fool. You were played for a fool, but if you stay with her, you'll continue being played for a fool, and honestly, you in some way will deserve what you get. I don't see how she respects me or cares about me if she did that. She doesn't, dude. It being 3 years ago makes it hard since it feels like the past 3 years are a lie. It also makes it hard because we both have a lot of admittedly sunk costs. We built a house together in a new place that basically took 2 years. She financed it all, but I put all the work in. She financed it. So does that mean she has more money than you? Does that mean she has a better paying job? What a great time to get a divorce, and maybe you can get some alimony. I feel like I made the mistake of not leaving immediately after hearing the news and thinking about this independently. I realized over the past week how dependent I am on her. Smack! No guy should be dependent on anybody, let alone a woman. When a man is dependent on a woman, that is going to turn her off. I feel embarrassed to tell any friend or family what happened. Dude, everybody can understand that. That is embarrassing, and it sucks. But you know what? A lot of people have been through bullshit like that. Your true friends and family will care about you and support you. Maybe out of fear that I will stay with her and they will always resent her, and just a humiliation of what happened. You made mistakes, but you were a good man and are a good man, so don't hate yourself being a good man. It's just, unfortunately, you were too trusting, and you gave that trust to a sociopath who can totally fool you. Part of me thinks I'm just shocked and upset and believe her that it was a mistake, as that's in the past, and 2 years now gone by, and has been my best friend. Other parts of me can't even look at her the same way, and I don't know how I can ever trust her again. You're not going to. Don't waste your time. I want to see a positive way out of this, but I feel like that, how can we even recover from such a total disregard and disrespect for me? I can't help but feel that she doesn't really respect me, and that's why she did it. That's exactly why. She doesn't respect you. Because if she truly loved and respected you, she wouldn't have gone away from you for 3 months, and she wouldn't have done that. But she doesn't. My guess is she found her nice guy and settled, but thought, I got my nice guy here, but I can go play in Costa Rica. I wrote this post because I'm trying to sort out all the feelings, like I'm biased or trying to look for hope, and maybe I need to be told there is none. So that was the end of his thing, and I'll go to the comments in a section. But look, this type of story, sadly, is all too common. Good guy gets roped in by a girl because he thought, oh, I'm finally getting my chance with a pretty girl, marries her as fast as he can, and then she takes advantage of his kindness and love and cheats on him and takes advantage of him, all that. We've heard this too many times. And he made mistakes, and his mentality is a typical nice guy, but he's 30 years old. And any of you guys out there just like him in a situation like this, your life's not over. You're 30 years old. You're babies. I'm 45, so believe me, 30 is like a high schooler to me. He can turn things around in his life. Divorce her. Get an attorney. Find out your options in your state. You haven't been married that long. If she makes more money than him, that puts him in a much better position. Walk away, end it. Sell the house, split the equity, assets, whatever, and move on. And then he needs to really work on himself. Hopefully find material like mine. Self-help books, stuff like that. Start hanging out with his bros, his family, people he can trust. Hit the gym, exercise. You'll feel better by moving around, getting out. And be very careful in the future who you give your trust to. And in relationships, establish boundaries. There's no going away to Costa Rica or any place for months on end after we're together. We're a married couple. We're together now. There's no hanging out with other dudes or talking to other dudes on Instagram, whatever. If you don't like that, hey, we don't have to be in a relationship. Things like that. Building himself up, so he has self-respect to establish boundaries, enforce boundaries, and etc., etc. And have a better radar for bullshit. But she obviously really fooled him well. And she could have fooled many guys too, so it's understandable. But stay with her, huge mistake. He stays with her, she'll cheat on him again, she'll put on the full waterworks you all heard of in this story, Niagara Falls of tears, and eventually she'll lose even more respect for him for taking her back, and then this will happen down the road, guaranteed. But then there'll be a longer marriage, and they could have kids, which makes the whole thing worse. End it, move on. Now, some comments here to show I'm not alone in my thinking here. One guy says, get yourself tested for STDs. Yes. From there, get someone to talk to, or therapy. Talk with a lawyer to find out your options. You do need to decide right now if you're going to do. You only need to know what your options are and how to process this. Another guy says here, she couldn't even wait 1 year into your marriage before having an affair. To make it worse, it wasn't even a one-off thing. She had a full-blown relationship. If it happened to be in another country, there's a significant chance it'd still be happening right now. It only ended because she needed to come back home, and she didn't even have the decency to go no contact. Right, she's been talking to that dude the entire time, and I'm sure she's been leading him on. Who knows? Maybe he's come to the United States to see her, and that weekend she has to go away for work or something. She's actually seeing him. Think about that one. Look, stay or leave. I think you need a divorce. That may sound stupid if you plan to reconcile, but the woman only ever be honest for the few months of your marriage. Another guy says here, hit the gym and get out there again, man. She's for the streets. Keep your chin high. This isn't your fault, and you have nothing to be ashamed of. Family and friends will understand. Right. He needs to work on himself and learn to stand up for himself and trust his gut and know what to look out for. But yeah, she's the a-hole here. However, if he takes her back and stays with her, then First time, shame on them. Second time, shame on you. And he will, in some ways, deserve what he gets. Another guy says here, I went through the same thing recently. It's going to suck, but believe me, it's best that you leave. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I promise the alternative is torture. Right. And one more. This is longer, but good. She had a whole relationship with someone else while you're married. She doesn't care about you, doesn't love you, and doesn't respect you. The only reason she admitted to anything is because she thought you had figured it out or that you would figure it out. She is extremely manipulative. Not only did she pretend none of it happened for so long, but she also used tears to manipulate you, staying and forgiving her. The waterworks are the classic way to manipulate a guy. Don't fall for it, guys. She's not crying because she betrayed you and feels bad about it. And it's an absolute lie that she was tortured and feels guilty every day since it happened. Yeah, that was bullshit. She acted like nothing was wrong the entire time you had no idea something was up. That is not how someone who is feeling incredibly guilty will act. She thought you'd never find out and was happy to live the rest of her life that way. She even had the nerve to keep in touch with him afterwards. That's why I think either they've been seeing each other on occasion or planning one day. You will never be able to trust her again. If you do, you're a fool. She will absolutely cheat on you again in the future if you stay. It may not be the only time that she's cheated. It seems like she's fine with cheating as long as she thinks she can bury it and you won't find out. Next time she will do a better job at hiding it so you will never find out. Amen. There you go. So guys, perfect example there. Once a cheater was a cheater, you find out, cut him loose, move on. And again, he's been married 4 years, okay? I don't know where he lives. Obviously, things depend on where he lives, the state and everything, the family law, but talk to a lawyer. He'll know everything what to do. Free consultation. And then talk to other lawyers. That way she can't go to them in your same town. And maybe because she makes more money, because that's what I'm suspecting here, he can actually get something out of it. That'd be nice, huh? A little severance for his 4 years of her bullshit. That'd be nice. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me just think about this. And guys, if you come across a really good story you'd like to share, definitely email me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I will if it really works for the channel. And also, guys, if you haven't done so yet, definitely subscribe to my other channels, Strong Successful Male and SSM Clips. The links are below. Really trying to grow those channels this year, and the more you sign up, the more YouTube will think these channels are worth promoting, and I can help grow, and et cetera, et cetera. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.